Hello everyone. Have you ever tried making this dish called Kalkala? It's a South Indian dish. It's a snack actually, a crunchy, crispy snack which is slightly sweet, more like a biscuit texture. And I call it Kalkals. And my kids love it, especially during Christmas. I tend to make this, and it's one of my favorite dish growing up, especially during the holidays. My mom used to make it, and it's kind of a very addictive snack, so be careful. And let's see what the ingredients are. First of all, you take a dry bowl, a mixing bowl, and get your measuring cups. I have a 1 cup measure and a 1/3 cup measure, and my measuring spoons. And let's start with the wet ingredients. We have eggs. I'm going to make 3 cups of all-purpose flour. So I will be using 3 eggs, 1 can of condensed milk. This is optional. Usually we add sugar separately and milk separately. So today I had a can of condensed milk and I thought let me give it a try. And then instead of water, I'm going to use half a can of coconut milk. That's again optional. It just adds a very nice coconutty flavor. If you like it, use it. Otherwise, just go with regular plain milk or water. And we're going to use 3 teaspoons of ghee. It's clarified butter. I have a video on how to do it. I'm going to post it soon. And then we have vanilla, pure vanilla. Make sure your vanilla is of a great quality, and don't skimp. This is basic. If you mess up buying a good vanilla, you're going to goof up the whole dish. So be careful what the ingredients you put in. And we'll probably use about a teaspoon or less than a teaspoon. And then we have sugar. In case the condensed milk is not sweet enough, I will be adding additional. Usually it's 3/4 cup for this entire 3 cup of all-purpose flour. So I will be checking to see if I really need it, because condensed milk already has some sweet in it. So we will see. And 3 cups of all-purpose flour or maida, and for every cup of maida we will use 1/3 cup. So 3/4 cup of coarse sooj or rava, or what do you call it, cream of rice or wheat. So that is sooj. And then I have baking soda. We're going to use a pinch. If you are not going to use eggs, some of you who are vegetarian, you can skip on the eggs and use 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda. But since I'm going to use eggs today, I'm going to add only a pinch of it. It's actually not necessary because we are adding ghee as well. So if you're adding ghee and eggs, you can actually omit baking soda. But today I'm going to use 1 pinch of it because I'm used to using it. And then salt. Every dessert, regardless of what you make, if it's an Indian dessert, please add a pinch of salt to balance out the sweetness. And then we have oil for deep frying. And some people add nutmeg, but I don't prefer that, or cardamom powder, but those are not necessary. So now we're going to mix all our wet ingredients together and add sooj first. Okay, 3/4 cup of that, and it needs to sit in it and soak up all the juices, and let it soak in for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll mix it with the all-purpose flour. And then we'll see if we need water. We'll add water, and because each batch of flour and sooj differs, so they may absorb the liquids differently. So we are going to work on trial and error, but this is a great recipe. I know it's my favorite go-to recipe during the holidays, and my kids just love it. So let's start making the dough. We make a stiff dough and then roll it on the fork and deep fry it. I have all my stuff ready for frying. The ladle to scoop out, and then to drain the oil, and then one more place to put all the fried ones. and then I will be storing it in an airtight container. So these are the ingredients, and let's proceed making the stiff dough first. So now I have all my wet ingredients. I have 3 eggs, 1 can of condensed milk, half a can of coconut milk. The white stuff is coconut milk, and then my vanilla essence. So we're going to give it a nice whisk, stir it all to combine, and then add the sooj or rava or cream of wheat. I'll come back. So I whisked it well to combine, and I also added a pinch of salt, and now we put in 3/4 cup of sooj or rava or cream of wheat. Mix it well, combine it, let it all soak in for 10 to 15 minutes. I kind of felt the sweetness was not up to mark, so I'm going to add 1/3 cup of sugar to the liquid ingredients along with the semolina or the rava, and just give it a mix, because it's easier to melt the sugar in the liquids rather than once you add the flour and make a dough. So I'm just going to add that. The liquid is quite thick because of the rava, it's soaking up all the liquids. So let's let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. So I've added my baking soda, and this is the 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour that I'm adding, and I will add my melted ghee if required. Sometimes you don't really need it because you have baking soda and eggs, so we will see if we need it. Okay, gonna make a stiff dough out of this, and let it again rest for like 10 minutes, and then roll it with a fork and deep fry them. At this point it's too thick to whisk, so I'm going to take out the whisk and knead it with my hands. And you can add a little more all-purpose flour if it is too thin, because we need a stiff dough. So make your own judgments and add some more flour if you need. I went ahead and added some ghee, melted ghee. I melted it in my pan and then added it, and it's kind of sticky, so I'm going to add some more flour and make it a little more stiff. See, it's kind of sticky right now. It's sticky to my fingers. So you can add, see, cooking is not very, what to say, unless you're trying to be a gourmet chef. It's like trial and error. Okay, you go with your eyes and your ears and your feel for how the dough should be. Okay, so add some more flour and I'll come back. So my dough has come together beautifully, and it's not as sticky as before. And any dough, once you mix it, let it rest for a bit. So my dough has been resting, and I put a plastic cover so it doesn't get dry, and always good to use a cling wrap or a saran wrap to keep it covered. And while you work on it, you're going to pull out a small dime-sized dough and grease a fork. I have some oil here. I'm going to move it to my right so it's convenient, and we're going to grease the fork and put dime-sized dough and roll it away from you. Make it flat on the fork and roll it away from you. I'll show you. You flatten it like so and roll it away from you, making a small cylindrical thing. It'll automatically seal, but you can give it a little press and put it outside. So you will do the same thing with all the dough, or you can roll it into a log so all the sizes are even, and then do it, but I'm just eyeballing it. Some people do it with a comb, a nice clean or a new comb. See how it makes the pattern? And we're going to do it all and then fry it at one shot. So I don't have my oil, nothing going yet. So once this is all done, then I'm going to fry it in batches in my hot oil. Sometimes it's good to involve the kids when it comes to this point. They will enjoy rolling and making a ball, and then doing it with a fork. It's a great time to get the kids involved and make them feel like they're part of making something. You're teaching as you do when you tell stories and traditions, how you grew up as a child making this dish, or just a nice time to bond. But right now they're all in holiday mood, watching a movie while mommy is doing this. But it's all good. So this does take time, so get all the help that you can, and periodically grease your hands so the dough doesn't stick to you, and also grease the fork so it doesn't stick to the fork. And then we're going to deep fry it. I'm going to show you a small batch so we don't waste time. So I recruited my daughter. We're going to roll all this, and I have a considerable amount there. I got my hot oil going. We're going to do a dough test, see if it's going to come up. So it's almost ready. So the minute the dough comes up, that's when it's ready. But right now I think it needs a little more heat. So we're getting there. Okay, almost. So once the oil is ready, we're going to launch all our kalkals into the oil. It's already sweetened, everything is ready to go, and I have extra set of hands making it. So I started adding it to the oil. Slide it along the sides, don't let it splatter, be very careful, it's hot oil, we don't want to burn ourselves, and make sure you take all precautions. Safety is priority, and have a safe and good holiday season making kalkals. Definitely get your kids involved. They will learn a thing or two, and you can have great conversations with them. So we're going to fry it till golden brown, not too dark, and once it cools down it's going to crunch up. So don't expect it to be crunchy right away. Okay, and also lower the heat. You want the whole thing cooked from inside out. So if it browns up really fast, that means your insides are not going to be cooked well. They poof up a bit and they look great. Just turn them around now and then, gently. You don't want to break it. Sometimes once you taste the first batch, you will know if you need to add anything or tweak it a little bit. But I think this is how it is, perfect. So I never use condensed milk. This is the first time I'm using condensed milk. Let's see how it turns out. Okay, so this is how it is. All the bubbles have kind of subsided to an extent, and it's a beautiful golden brown. So now it's time to take it out and put it aside in a place on a paper towel to drain the oil. So this is what we're gonna do. So we are good. That's our first batch. So we'll repeat for the rest of this. As we make, we'll fry them up. So enjoy a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the next video. Let me know how yours turned out.